Hey guys, how's it going? Thought I'd just come on here and talk about my day today. Today was, to be honest, was a little frustrating today. How it started off, just to kind of give you a little idea of what you might handle here at CFI from time to time. So from time to time with CFI, you might get a request from the planners, which are the people that that plan the loads out for you and whatnot, and give you your assignments for the day and whatnot. Well, sometimes they'll ask you to spot trailers for other companies, which means that basically you'll be taking an empty and dropping off an empty at a company, and that's all you'll be doing, right? Time to time they'll ask you that, depending on availability and needs and all that fun stuff, right? Well, last night as I was dropping off what did I drop off last night? I think I dropped off in was it in North Carolina? Was I in North Carolina? It was in North Carolina, yeah. And then they wanted me to take the empty that I had and take it to a shipper about 40 miles down the road, not too far off, and give them that empty. Except that they dumped about 4 different things on me, and I immediately was like, whoa, what is going on here? I was very confused. There was very little explanation on the plans as to why I was going to be doing this or whatever it was. I wasn't quite sure what it was. It seemed like a lot of back and forth for some reason. I was like, what is going on? So I contacted our nightly dispatch, and they tried their best to kind of explain to me what they were wanting to be done, which I ended up realizing what they wanted was for me to take the empty that I had, take it to the shipper, drop it off, go to a Freightliner in North Carolina, pick up another empty at Freightliner, and then go and drop off another empty. So I was spotting the shipper 2 empties before I would be able to go back to Freightliner and pick up my loaded that was going to go to Indianapolis. So to sum it up, dropped off in North Carolina, or dropped off in North Carolina. God, I can't remember the town, but drop off, pick up an empty, and then go and drop the first empty off at the shipper, go to Freightliner in North Carolina, in North Carolina, pick up another empty, take it back to the shipper that I dropped off the first empty to, so drop off a second one, then go back to Freightliner and pick up my loaded trailer. So last night, at that point, once I got all that kind of situated, I was already kind of running low on time, so I only had enough time to take my first empty to the shipper last night, and then that was it. I was out of time, so I spent the night in North Carolina, and that was very frustrating. If you've ever driven a truck in North Carolina, the first thing you're going to find out is that parking sucks in North Carolina. There's not a lot of truck stops in North Carolina, and the handful, maybe I think I counted maybe like 10 total at best, if not less than that. And they're all small. They're all less than 100 spots in each one of them. Some of them only have like 4 or 5 spots, so it's far and in between. Luckily, CFI has a drop lot in North Carolina, so I utilized that, and I was able just to stop there after I tried 2 different truck stops and there was no parking. It was either park on the side of the road or go to the drop lot. So I went to the drop lot and stayed there. So then I woke up in the morning, contacted my fleet manager to make sure what I was doing was correct, and she confirmed what I needed to do, which was go to Freightliner, pick up an empty, and then go and take it to the shipper. That would be my second empty that I would be dropping off, and then I would be able to go back to Freightliner and pick up my loaded. Okay, sounds fine, right? Well, I got to Freightliner, and I told them what I needed. They said, okay, go over here. Here's the yard, blah, 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 this and that, and find you any empty you want to take, and you're good to go, right? Well, I went through the whole yard and we did not have any empties there. We had 0 empties, and every single trailer that I looked at was loaded. So yeah, so there went that, right? So I let them know that, I let dispatch know, hey, we have no empties here. Then my dispatcher said, or my fleet manager said, okay, well, the planner's telling you to go and get it empty at this other location in North Carolina, in Charlotte. This is all happening in Charlotte, by the way, in Charlotte, and like right in the surrounding areas of Charlotte. But anyways, but where I was in that drop lot, where they're sending me to go and look for this empty now after Freightliner, it literally was like 2 miles away from where I was when I started the day in the morning. So I had to go, 15 miles back the other way, which 15 miles in North Carolina isn't like 15 minutes. It takes like 30 to 40 minutes depending on traffic and stuff. So each one of those runs that I'm doing at this point is about 30 to 40 minutes. So, well, first 30 minutes of my day, pretty much nothing, right? And then so I go and drive to that next yard or place where apparently we have a couple trailers. Well, I go there and I asked them, I tell them what I'm there for. I tell them I'm here for to pick up an empty, with CFI. They said they had a couple. They said they had a couple of empties, but all other empties are in repair. None of them are repaired, so I can't take any. Oh my. Whew. Oh my Lord. When I heard that, I was like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I've already burned almost an hour and a half of time between, driving a Freightliner, walking all 3 of their areas to find an empty, driving all the way to this place again and whatnot. And just for them to tell me that they don't have any empties. Okay, well, so I contact my fleet manager again. And I tell her, look, there's no empties here either, or they're not going to let me take any. So, what are we going to do? So then she tells me, okay, well, there's this other place in southern Charlotte. So I'm on the north side of Charlotte. Now I got to drive all the way to the south part of Charlotte to go to this place, and they for sure have empties there. At this point, I'm very frustrated at this point, if I'm being honest with you, because I feel like I burned through almost 2 hours of my on-duty time and drive time, right? For nothing. Like I didn't get an empty from either one of those places, and it was extremely frustrating at that point. What was happening? And so I was just like, man, like, why do they have me doing this? Like, I'm extremely frustrated, and I don't like what's happening right now. So anyways, I decided, I talked to my boss about it, and, I was like, geez, they had me chasing ghosts. That's literally what I told her. I told her, man, they got me chasing ghosts today, boss. Like, she was like, yep. And she was very, very nice. And what I got to say is that my fleet manager was very, very good today. She was very nice, like she usually is. And she helped me out, and she told me she was going to make it, worth my while and whatnot. So I was pretty happy about that. So I didn't feel like it was a colossal waste of the day, but she was very understanding. She was like, man, I don't know why they did that to you, or why they're doing this to you, why they're making you go through all this and whatnot. So anyways, that second empty trailer drop that I was gonna go back to that original shipper for is pretty much gets, after the second try, it gets canned. So now I have to get an empty to go and actually pick up the load at Freightliner that I'm taking to Indianapolis, because they don't want you to go in bobtail. So I'm still on the hunt for at least an empty that I can take to Freightliner, right? So he sent me to this to Cato Fashion, and luckily they had about 6 trailers. Great. Okay, let's hold on this for a second, right? So I pick up an empty. It's fine. It's good to go. I take the empty to Freightliner. When I get to Freightliner, this is the part that maybe I missed something. Maybe I didn't read my notes. I actually did read my notes, and it didn't say anything about that I need to take this trailer to this other lot, right? So it just tells me to go to Freightliner. So I went to Freightliner, go to the security, I tell them, hey, I have an empty, but I'm picking up a loaded. Where do I drop this empty? She gives me an address. And she says, you have to go and take it to this drop lot. Typically, that happens sometimes. Typically, shippers have drop lots that are off-site just because, overflow and whatnot. Like, they have a lot of, so they don't have enough space, so they usually end up getting a different yard. And the farthest I've ever had to drive to like another drop lot is usually like maybe like 2 or 3 miles tops. They're usually pretty close, right? It's common. It's actually pretty common. This one was 10 miles away. This drop lot that they have is 10 miles away. The overflow lot is what they called it. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. 10 miles away? That's like, and this is not 10 miles on the highway. Once again, this is 10 miles inner city, 30, 35, congestion and all that fun stuff. So it turns into like a 25-minute drive one way. So it's burning another hour to go and drop off this empty at this drop lot, and then coming back, right? Because, coming back bobtail to come and pick up the load. My goodness. So I ended up doing that. I did it. And then I went back to Freightliner and got my loaded trailer, and that's what I'm in right now. So after all of that, by the time I get my loaded trailer and I leave Freightliner with my loaded going to Indianapolis, it is probably about 2:00, and I started my day about 7 in the morning. So I've already burned through almost half of my day. Just with all this weird stuff and all and whatnot, and how the day went and all that. Like with all of that took about, combination of about 4 or 5 hours by the time I get hooked up and then I leave Freightliner and whatnot. So I still was able to knock out a pretty good amount of this drive here. So that's not too bad. But then to end the day, I'm here at a Love's, and I went to go take a shower. And every time I go to take a shower, I turn off the truck. I don't like to leave it running when I'm not in it. So I turn it off, and I go and take my shower, do my business, and I come back, right? Well, I came back, and I turned the key, and it won't start. Turned it off, left it off for a little bit longer. Tried it again, and it won't start. It's struggling really, really bad to start. You turn the key, and it goes. But what it sounds like is it doesn't sound like it's an engine problem or like a starting problem. It sounds like it could just be the batteries. I don't think I think there might be a couple of these batteries on this truck that may not be any good anymore, and so I think it's kind of low charge now. Before you say anything. Yes, I do have the cab lights on, but I mean, am I going to sit here in the dark? No, I'm not going to sit here in the dark. So the lights still work and everything, but it just won't kick over. So I had to call roadside. They haven't showed up yet, but once they do, we're going to try to jumpstart this thing, and hopefully that's what it'll take to turn it on. If not, then there's a bigger problem, and I'm hoping for not the bigger problem, right? But that's how the day has gone today. It's been a very a little bit of a frustrating day, but as I always say, you got to look at the positives. There's got to be some kind of positives that come out of a negative day, and there's a couple of them. One of them, like I had said just a while ago, was my fleet manager was amazing, was awesome, helped me out throughout this day, kind of was there for me today, and I appreciate her like I do every time that I talk to her. I appreciate her so very much, and she really helped me get through this frustrating day. A very special friend of mine, during this time in the morning when I was going, just I didn't ask for it or anything. They just sent me a good morning text, and just something like that. I don't know. It's a little thing, but it made me feel really, really a lot better in that moment of frustration and just kind of like feeling done. And getting that was it just felt nice. It wasn't even anything more than just a good morning text message, but that's just, I don't know, it made me happy, it made me feel good. And I just had a little back and forth conversation with that person, and with that special friend and whatnot, and it was good. It was nice. It made me feel very happy, much happier, and made me feel better almost right away. And then when I went to go drop off that empty trailer to Freightliner's offsite location, as I was dropping my trailer, another CFI driver was driving into the area that I was in, and they were waving at me. And usually, us CFI drivers, if you see another CFI driver, you wave at them, whether you're driving by or you're in the same yards or whatever, right? Usually, just give a little wave. You don't have to sit there and have a conversation with the person, but you can wave. It's nice. It's a nice, kind gesture. We're on the same team. But anyways, so the person waves at me, I wave at them back, give them the hey. And then as I'm driving, she keeps looking at me and she's waving at me, and I'm like, oh, okay, she wants me, like she needs help or something, like. So I get out of the truck as I'm about to leave, and I go walk up to her, but she's a subscriber, and she wanted to say hi, and told me that I inspired my videos and whatnot inspired her to go to Crowder to get her CDL, her Class A, and come here with CFI. And if you're watching this, it was very nice meeting you. I love those kinds of random things where people that see me on the road from and like they say you're from YouTube and whatnot. It's still pretty neat, still pretty cool to me at this. Like, it's cool. I love meeting subscribers and whatnot out there. It's pretty neat to hear your stories, even if it's just for a little bit, to hear how you're doing, how's it going for you. And I just hope that I continue to help you all out with these anytime that I do these. But to that driver, you might hate me for this. I don't remember your name, and I don't want you to take any offense to that. Because if I'm being brutally honest with you, it takes about maybe 3 or 4 meetings, like meetups and whatnot, or conversations, before I'll memorize what your name is, right? If it's just the very first time, more than likely, if I don't take down your number or something like that, or if I don't add you on social media, I'm gonna forget your name. So forgive me for doing that, but you were very kind, and it was nice meeting you. Good luck to you out there. Keep trucking. Stay safe. If you ever have any questions, if any of y'all ever have any questions, y'all know where to find me out here on this social media thing. But yeah, that made my freaking day. Like, that flipped over any other negativity that I had going into that was gone when I met that lady and how nice she was and whatnot. And so yeah, you made my day. Thank you so very much. But yeah, guys, I'm just here waiting for the roadside and seeing where it goes. My last final thoughts on everything is, I don't think you can blame anybody for what happened to me today, or why it was so frustrating today. I would hope that in the future that maybe things are explained to me a little bit more clearer from a planner standpoint. Our dispatch are really good people. My fleet managers are awesome. But the planners, planners are usually pretty good too. Like, I never really had very many complaints about the planners, but today, for some reason, whoever was the one that put in that plan just did not explain it very well, and it made things very confusing for me today. So I would just hope that maybe in the future that can get kind of patched up, and they'll be a little bit better about that in the future. Maybe we won't have to deal with that again. But if you do get yourself in a situation like that, just make sure to be vocal. Voice your opinion. If you don't like something, voice your opinion with your fleet manager. That's the first person you should go to. Call your fleet manager, talk to them. They can talk you through it. They can talk you off a ledge or whatnot, all that fun stuff, right? And then go from there. But don't stay quiet about it. Don't try to figure everything out on your own out here. The worst thing you can do is not utilize resources that you have. And one of the biggest resources that you have, especially if you're a company driver, is your fleet manager. Talk to your fleet manager. If your fleet manager is not working for you, talk to somebody else. There's somebody you got to talk to that can help you out in a distressful situation. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna chill out here. I'm gonna wait to see what happens with this truck. Hopefully I can get back on the road. I'm gonna leave y'all here before I leave. I did get, like I said, I got a new dash, not a dash camera, but I got a new action camera. It's kind of like a GoPro. So I'm gonna leave a little clip of what that looks like here after I get done right here. I'll leave you with that, and then hopefully I can kind of tweak some things with it. I don't really like the microphone volume on it, so I'm gonna have to find an alternative to being able to speak while I'm driving. But for now, you're just gonna get the visuals and see how it looks, and if you like the way it looks, I'll do a lot more of them. But yeah, guys, you have a good night. Stay safe. Remember to keep the rubber side down, the metal side up. I'll see y'all down the road.